Well, thank you so much for joining us on Insights. It's on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence UMOETTE. Nigeria has made some progress in socio-economic terms in recent years, no doubt. Its human capital development ranked only 150 of the 157 countries in the World Bank's 2020 Human Capital Index. The country continues to face massive development challenges, including the need to reduce the dependence on oil for exports and revenues, diversify its foreign exchange sources, close the infrastructural gap, and maybe build strong and effective institutions, as well as address governance issues and strengthen public financial management systems. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had promised to put together a strong economic team to hit the ground running. Some people are hinting that may just be in the offing. The tasks are daunting. Repositioning the economy, the inflation level is skyrocketing, unemployment level is high. How challenging a task it is to revamp the Nigerian economy. Economists believe that the Nigerian economy is valued at about $1 trillion in GDP output. But because of the structural challenge over the years, the economy is operating at about 40% of its capacity. How does the administration put in place the structural reform to get the economy to its full capacity? Well, on Insight today, we will revisit the challenges of putting the economy back on track. And I have a very interesting guest in the studio today who will help us make sense of the whole situation. He is an economist by training and he also wears other cap. But for today, we will want to tap from his wealth of knowledge and expertise on that field, economy. His name is Babawale Salako. Welcome to Insight, my brother.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
It's a pleasure to have you on Insight. It's your debut appearance.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. You can join our live stream on Citizen on YouTube by typing in Citizen FM 93.7 and you will be part of the show live from anywhere in the world. You can also listen to us online on www.citizenfm.ng. You can also follow us on our social media platforms, 3 of them actually, on Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on Twitter at Citizen FM 937. So that's the setting. How do we get the economy back on track? And we have as our guest Babawale Salako, who is an economist, and he will help us make sense of the situation. Babawale, let's start this way. I just want to have your overview of the current administration. It's just 6 weeks down the line. Just a general overview.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigerians. As the guest of today, my name is Emmanuel Babawale Salako. I'm a chartered accountant. I'm an economist. 6 weeks down the line, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he has hit the ground running as he promised. He has done so many things past governments have failed to be able to do. But then, there are so many challenges coming up with these policies. There is no policy that comes with positive outcome that does not have the other side of it. I think the major problem we have in Nigeria most of the time is this policy somersault. We do not plan appropriately before we venture into most of these policies implementation. And I see some of these challenges coming up at the moment. But however, I will give it to him. For him to be able to remove subsidy in his first day in office. Many governments have done it in the past. I remember in 2012, President Jonathan attempted to remove subsidy. It was hell in Nigeria. Everybody was on the streets. President Buhari tried. He was able to, but he only pushed the evil day ahead for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to come and execute. And in governance, there is always this period of honeymoon. The man used the period of honeymoon to push this policy outside. But then, 6 weeks down the line, we expected him to have been able to mitigate against the backlashes coming from this policy. Look at the removal, unification of exchange rates. It's like you are removing subsidy again from exchange rates. Like for some of those people that could access forex from CBN at official rate before, at 461, 463, it's no longer available. Meaning they will be getting it at 740, 750. So it's another subsidy that you have removed. So at this point, we have too many issues at the moment. But going by the pedigree of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, what he has done in Lagos before, as financial experts, as experienced private sector person, public sector person, I believe he will be able to set records straight going forward.
Okay, let's delve into some of the issues. There are a lot of them, but we'll take as many as time would permit. You are a chartered accountant.
Yes, sir.
And this is just right on your forte. A lot of people believe that one of the ways to move forward is that government need to cut down the cost of governance. What, as an accountant and an economist, we are not talking about a company, we are talking about a country. What is involved here?
The honest truth is that Nigeria is running a very expensive governance. The government in Nigeria sometimes come up with budget of 11 trillion, 13 trillion. And when you dig deep into this, you see many unreasonable expenses kitting into these budgets. Okay, for instance, a road that has been constructed or that approval has been done long before this time, you still see some of these roads making the list, the budget for the current year. The presidency, kitchen utensils in the presidency will be changed every year. You are talking about the number of even in the public sector, in the ministry department and agencies, you see some of these people, the staff they recruited, they don't even do. Some of them do not even have tables. Not to talk of doing anything. There are ways we can handle some of these things, not just to employ people and bring them on board without doing anything, but when you employ them, let there be efficiency, value for money. And when you look at the whole thing, when you dissect a budget of 11 trillion, you can actually reduce it to about 6 trillion if they are properly scrutinized, if all these unnecessary spending are removed from it. I remember in 2019, I'll be 2020, that we were constructing this standard gauge going to Maradi in Nigeria. I read a piece saying another African country was constructing same standard gauge at about less than half of what we were constructing our own in Nigeria. So this Nigerian factor must be properly dealt with. And then it starts from the people at the top. When the presidency, the National Assembly, once they come up with policies that will reduce the cost of governance, everybody will key into it. We must do this because the masses are already suffering too much. They are at the end of the elastic limit. They have suffered. Hope is coming tomorrow. Hope is coming. Their hope is not coming, and we have to bear more. So we cannot push everything to the masses. That, okay, for instance, like about 2 months ago, we were buying fuel at 195. Though in some places they were buying 350, 300, but now in Abuja is 500. The least you can get is 537. So definitely this will affect every cost of items that you can buy in Abuja. And the same goes for every other place in Nigeria. So that means an average Nigerian, their disposable income will reduce drastically because what you are earning has not increased. The cost of energy has increased. The cost of transportation has increased. All the costs. And the other time we were hearing that Abuja Electricity Distribution Company will be increasing the rate of charges of units by 40% or something. They stopped it at some point. All these things coming will only make life more difficult for people. And what gauges the standard of living is the amount of goods and services you consume. And when you cannot consume anything, instead of consuming, you are trying to ration, then it will tell on the useful life of people. But you're talking about people dying of hunger, dying of heart attack. These are the challenges we are facing. But I can only appeal to Nigeria government at the moment, the president, the National Assembly, to come out with policies that will help Nigeria grow better. We know at the beginning it's going to be very difficult. There is no time you will remove subsidy that Nigeria will get it so easy. Because all the frameworks, they were supposed to have been put in place before this happens. They are not there. Because like we have 4 refineries. Let's assume that before this removal of a subsidy, all these refineries are working, even if up to 50%. Then by now we will have products being produced within Nigeria, and it will help us a lot. But unfortunately, these are the challenges. The cost of governance is increasing by the day. I heard that the National Assembly even just recently set their own salaries on their own. They are not concerned about Nigeria. We are appealing to them. It's a new government. We expect them to do things that will reduce the cost of governance as much as Nigerians are reducing their own budgets on their daily living. These are the things we can do to say that Nigerian government at the moment, they are serious. When they know they are serious, we too will follow suit. It is always good that Nigeria leads by example.
All right, Baba Wale, let's look at our debt profile, over $100 billion. And a lot of people are even complaining that, maybe the country should even stop borrowing. But you are a financial expert. Is it really possible as a nation to stop borrowing?
It is possible to stop borrowing. But borrowing in itself is not a big deal. It's not a problem. The most indebted country across the globe is perhaps America, and is a country everybody is trying to enter every day. If you are given visa, even if you don't have opportunity of getting visa, if they say okay, just enter somebody's bag and go, the country you will choose in the world is America. But what do we use whatever we get as loan? What do we use them to do? There is what we call productive and non-productive loans. Productive loans are the loans you incurred and invested in such a way that they can pay themselves back. So if most of the debts we are incurring, they are being incurred on a project that will expand the infrastructural requirement of Nigeria, that will help Nigeria open up for businesses, that will remove challenges of insecurity, that will help in building environments that will be conducive for businesses to thrive, then we are good to go. But the reverse has been the case in the country, because in the past, I remember in 2015, the Nigerian debt profile was around 12 trillion or so, and now it's almost 100 trillion. Now, between then and now, have you really seen massive changes in our infrastructural requirements? The answer is no. So that means most of this borrowing were not being utilized effectively. And this is the challenge. Borrowing in itself is not a problem. When you borrow, you are trying to expand the economy. And this issue of when you borrow, there is what we call velocity of money, the way money moves. If the government borrows and spend into infrastructure, some people will get funds from there, being paid from the contracts they got. They too, they will settle their wives at home, go back to complete their own project at home. Before you know it, the money will keep moving, and it will keep creating wealth. Wealth creation is the end of it all. But borrowing to spend on frivolous contract and activities is not in itself sustainable. And that is why during the tail end of Buhari's government, you started hearing things like they are paying something, the debt, judgment debt. They are recruiting some people. Even on just like a day to the end of that government. So we did not really see much of seriousness from that government, but we are open upon all the borrowings and the internally generated revenue. Though at some point when they started, crude oil was being sold around $27-30 per barrel, but it climbed to a reasonable level before they left the government. And when you combine the internally generated revenue with the borrowing, we are not seeing the impact of this borrowing on ground. Some of the roads constructed by Sukuk, I traveled on this Lokoja road the other day. Some of they put Sukuk, the road they constructed with borrowed fund was already failing. This is not sustainable, because this road, if it has stayed for like 45 years, if we are making money from elsewhere, you will be able to construct other roads across Nigeria in 45 years. But the road will need maintenance in another 1 year. So you'll be needing another money to maintain such a road. So borrowing effectively is the borrowing you put in productive investments, such that the loan can repay itself in the future.
All right, still on revenue. It's obvious that as a country we need a lot of revenue to sort out a lot of things. How do we increase this revenue? What are the growth drivers? Maybe perhaps apart from taxation, what else do we do?
Nigeria has a lot of natural resources that we can at this point benefit from. We just need to look inward. Everything should not be about crude oil. Buhari government tried to diversify the economy to a large extent. They were able to do some levels of development in area of agriculture that is making us to have produce rice that we eat mostly in Nigeria today. We have some other natural resources in Nigeria that can naturally finance the budget of Nigeria. There are so many of them. Tantalum, lithium, all these solid minerals. They are everywhere across Nigeria. Nigeria is so blessed. And when you have means of doing all these things, the only thing is just to open the economy. When you open up the economy to investment, and that is why we applauded this issue of unification of exchange rates, so that people bring in their investment. We know that the valuation of the currency where they are investing is actually correct. So when people begin to bring their investments into the country, it will help. Some people will go into solid minerals, and this area of refining petroleum products, it will help us if they can bring their funds to come and establish what we call refineries in Nigeria. What we heard is that we have about 45 constraints in crude oil. So when we export, we only bring about 4 or 5 of them back to Nigeria. What happens to the remaining constraints? So if all these refineries are working in Nigeria, then you have some of these companies that will be using the output of all these refineries to produce. And when they produce, they can pay, these people can have capacity to pay as much as 1 million naira salary to their workers. And when you do this, the salaries will be taxed by the subnational government, and before you know it, they make more money. But in all, the major issue with Nigerian government revenue is leakages. Leakages must be properly blocked. It is not about revenue alone. We talk about cost, we talk about revenue. Leakages in in revenue in Nigeria is a major challenge. And I listened to channels the other day, and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came up with a committee that will review the tax policy in Nigeria and see how they can recommend a situation whereby you have IT driving the revenue of Nigeria. It is necessary. When you reduce human interface from collections, it is easier. You pay less, and government will realize more. But when human interface is coming, everybody is trying to protect his own interest, and it will affect. So
and corruption will break.
We come in. So government needs to really be serious about digitalizing our collection system, such that human interface will be reduced to bearable minima. Look at customs. when you bring goods into into Nigeria, when you are bringing goods, those goods, you see you see custom charging you something, you need to go through some agents. And I am not saying this is not good, but it may not be good enough. What stops me from imputing my bill of lading into the system, and the system give me assessment, and I press something in my office and I pay, and I just get someone to go and all the documents is being generated from the office, and I give it to someone to go and carry my goods without any human interface. This will help government to make more. It will reduce the corruption in the system, and it will help Nigeria in the long run. We need revenue at this time. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has inherited a government with low level of revenue. At this point, low level of savings and debt. We need to pay this debt back. So, and we need to run the economy. We need to run the governance. And we must not stop at any point in time. So, all these things, we must use technology to drive our collection. We must block all the leakages through which the revenue that's supposed to come into Nigeria government accounts is going to private ports.
All right, thank you so much. Well, if you're just joining us, it's Insight on Citizen FM 93.7, and my guest has been Emmanuel Babawale Salako. He is an economist and is also a chartered accountant. He's been helping us make sense of how to get out of the challenge facing us as a nation, economic challenge. How do we bring back the economy to what it used to be? How do we get out of this challenge? How do we solve some of these problems? And in the last 20 minutes or thereabout, Emmanuel Salako has been taking us through some of the issues. We will take a break now, and when we return, we will look at some other issues, maybe one or two political issues, but we will still dwell on the economy. Don't go away. Insight will return in a moment.
Reach out. Speak up. Speak out. You are the voice of a new generation. And this is your station. Talk Radio 93.7 Citizen FM. Looking for the best in news updates? Yeah, man. Listen to Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Listen. News on the hour, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and 11 a.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and 5 p.m. News at noon, 12 noon. News from across the states, 4 p.m. And our major news at 6 p.m. Citizen FM 93.7. Always precise in news broadcast.
Citizens Tech Talk with Mina, bringing you news updates on digital technology around us, discussing the latest developments and how technology can enrich you and make your life more exciting. Citizens Tech Talk with Mina, welcome to our world of technology. Every Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 12, Citizens Tech Talk with Mina, expanding our global reach through technology.
Abuja. Wake up. Reach out. Speak up. Speak out. You are the voice of a new generation. And this is your station. Talk Radio 93.7 Citizen FM.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. It's still Insight on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence UMOETTE. today. My guest is Emmanuel Babawale Salako. He is an economist and is also a chartered accountant. We are looking at the challenges of getting the economy back on its feet. You can be part of this program as usual. If you want to join the program on YouTube, you can watch a stream. Type in StreaINSIGHT FM 93.7. You can also listen to us online on www.citizenfm.ng. Our social media platforms are there for your interaction on Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on Twitter at Citizen FM 93. The phone lines are open now. You can call us on 0903-2229-797. You can also call us on 0818-2222-205, or you can call us on 0818-2222-206. Any of these numbers, just call us and let's talk. You can also send us a WhatsApp message, and we will be glad to know where you're writing in from. The topic once again is challenges of getting the economy back on its feet, and our guest is Emmanuel Babawale Salako, an economist and also a chartered accountant. Emmanuel, thank you for staying tuned. Let's talk about some politics. In the last couple of weeks, the media space has been awash with speculations. So many different kinds of names of people who are likely to make the ministerial list, from the absurd to the credible to the laughable, and so many. But the truth is that the president will have to announce his cabinet list on or before, I think, the 29th of July, according to law. So what kind of cabinet would you want the president to come up with?
Thank you, sir. What we know Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for is the special eyes for the best among the best. He has done this over and over again. He did this in Lagos. We expect him to do, because most of his commissioners in Lagos, they are still relevant in Nigerian politics up to tomorrow. And that shows the quality of individuals they were. So, as of today, we are expecting him to do just that, if not better, because Nigeria is a bigger environment than Lagos State. So, he has opportunity to choose from the best. And what we have seen from the appointment of the military heads and the service chiefs has made us to know that Asiwaju will do most of these things devoid of ethnicity, religion, and tribalism. So, if he can choose people who are ministers that have quality, that have expertise, that are professionals in their field to man some strategic sectors, it will help us a lot. Because like Ministry of Finance now, you cannot leave it to politicians. People have been talking about, you cannot leave it to politicians. You can only leave it to people of quality mind. The office of governor of CBN, you cannot leave it to politicians. You must give it to people who are professional, people who see things the right way, not minding the political affiliation. Whatever your own judgment is about, whatever they want to do, we do it the right way. So there are some key ministries like this that Asiwaju is expected to bring professionals, and we know him for that. I don't have doubt in my mind that Asiwaju will bring the best quality to man some of these key offices. When you're talking about reward to politicians for supporting you during elections, there are so many opportunities for you to give back to them. But there are some things that if you do them today, giving them reward, when you're giving opportunity like some key ministerial offices to politicians as reward for the work they have done for you when you were campaigning, you will get it wrong, and the buck will stop on his table, because he's the president of Nigeria, he's the one we voted for. So we are expecting people of quality mind, people who have international exposures about things, people who can actually dissect problems, who can dissect policies, people who can see policies and understand their implications, people who can actually implement policies in appropriate way to make the list of this ministerial appointment.
Well, still talking about last president in recent years, very tight, very rancorous. The build up to the election was, some would say, very bitter, taking into consideration the kind of campaigns we had and everything. At the end of the day, the election came, results were announced, a winner emerged. But there's still a lot of people who still feel wounded, who still feel bitter about the result of the election, who still feel very hurt. And now the president has a huge responsibility to heal the nation. And we can see some of that with some people going to visit the president. As a politician, how do you think the president should maneuver this, what seems to be a lineman, and get the nation back on focus?
Like I said the other time, when president appointed the service chiefs, you could see the joy in the entire country. People were so happy that, okay, despite the fact, okay, look at the appointment of the principal office in National Assembly. The Southeast made the list. Almost all the part of the country, perhaps except the North Central, did not get, but they got the SJF. So the entire part of the country is an opportunity to come into this government to serve. Though this matter is within the court, is before the court for them to judge who actually won the 2023 election. And pending the time, we'll be having another opinion being expressed by the court. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president of Nigeria. But the honest truth is that when you look at the kitchen cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as announced, you could see that the entire country was being represented. So we expect same from these ministerial appointments, so that when you have people across the globe, people across the north and south, the west, the east, making the list, people will be happy and they will know that this government is our government. They will join hands with presidents and for us to have a successful Nigeria. The end point is for us to have a successful Nigeria, to have a Nigeria that's been productive, to have Nigeria that is better than the way we used to have it. A Nigeria that will guarantee a safety of life, property. The Nigeria that will guarantee that if you hit in the morning, you are going to still hit perhaps in the evening. So this is what we want. It is not about the southerner, it's not about the northerner. It's about a Nigeria that is productive and working.
Well, I like that last part now, because politicians use our fault lines, ethnicity, religion, and so many things to create what some people would say artificial divide among Nigerians, and these were on display during the campaign period. Even in social media, even after the election, you still find this fault line being accentuated by a lot of even elites. Is this something that we can really address as a nation?
Honestly, we can address it. Like as Christians, as Muslims, you are a Nigerian first. Before, to be a Christian or being a Muslim is not a permanent thing. I have seen people who changed from being a Christian to Muslim. I've seen Muslim converted to Christian. I've seen Christians who changed to be pagans. So it is not a permanent thing. The permanent thing is that we are Nigerian and we must behave in a way that will make Nigeria to be great, that will make Nigeria to be the best home for us. When you look at some of these people agitating in line of ethnic and religious sentiments, they want to benefit from it, and that's why they're talking about it. If there's no benefit from it, they just want to appeal to the sentiment of people as regards religion and ethnicity. So the moment they benefit from that, they will go back to the status quo. They are only using Nigerians. They are only using Nigeria to get to the end, they say it means to an end, to get to the end of the whole story. So my appeal to Nigerians is that at this point, we are one. we must behave as such. We must see Nigeria first before we see our ethnicity. We must see our religion. The religion is our belief as of today. Tomorrow it may change. So if you're arguing against, I've seen people who are against Christianity, and at some point they became Muslim. And when you see people throwing stone to people, like we saw in Sokoto, and you see some of them converting to be Christian at later time. So they will now look at what they have done at that time and regretted it. So what we are saying is that we are Nigeria first before we can be either Christians or Muslims. And when you look at it, about 97% of people that constitute the government of Nigeria, they are either Christians or Muslims. And we still have a lot of challenges in the country. So we are appealing to people who actually believe in this religion to follow it to later, so that we can get Nigeria right. Not that we'll be fighting on the pages of social media for religion, and when it gets to us acting as Christian or acting as Muslims, we will now do otherwise. So we should do the right thing in governance in our various offices, so that when people are supposed to, okay, something happened recently. I listened to one guy. The guy wanted to take an employment. He actually schooled in the UK and he relocated back to Nigeria. When he came to Nigeria, he has been applying for jobs everywhere. He got one. He did interview. He did test. He passed. He did interview. He passed. He did second interview. He passed. So at some point, they've sent congratulatory messages to them before some politicians hijacked the process, and he lost the opportunity because some politicians hijacked the process. So what we're saying is, Nigeria should allow Nigeria to work. We should allow Nigeria to work. A process where you see people getting employment without knowing anybody will guarantee a country where corruption is reduced by half. Because if I have sold my father's land to buy job, when I get the opportunity, I want to buy 10 of that lands back to replace the one I sold. So this corruption goes on, and these people who are having in position of authority are Christians, they are Muslims. We are appealing to them. Let us always encourage our people and keep Nigeria in the front burner at all time.
All right, it's still Insight on Citizen FM 93.7, and we are discussing getting the economy, the challenges facing the economy, getting the economy out of the woods. And our guest here is an economist and also a chartered accountant, Emmanuel Babawale Salako. You can be part of the program. The phone lines are open: 0903 2229 797. You can also call us on 0818 2222205, or you can call us on 0818 2222206. You can also send us a WhatsApp message on any of those numbers and let us interact with you. Let us know where you're writing in from, and we will respond immediately. Wale, let's look at another issue that is bothering people. When we talk about governance and government, sometimes one example is the turnout of the last election. Less than 50%. And people are beginning to ask, why are Nigerians not interested in governance, in government issues? How do we get citizens to be interested in issues of governance? Very important. And also to learn how to hold public officials to account.
Left to me, sir, when you look at last election, I say the turnout was fair enough. Prior to 2023, technology was not being deployed in the accreditation process. And as such, people who do not even have permanent voters card or voters card at all could just go to polling units, you take their name and they will vote and they will go. And there was no way for them to be traced whether they were accredited or not. So the game changer in this 2023 election was these beavers. The beavers actually helped in taming the instance where people would just go cast votes without being accredited appropriately. If you are not being accredited by beavers, then you cannot vote. So that actually showed the real number of voters in 2023 election, as against what we used to have in 2019, 2015, where people would just go there and vote. Somebody can go to Unit A, vote, go to Unit B, vote, go to Unit C, vote. You can vote even in your unit. You can vote 4 or 5 times. You just need to compromise the electoral officials. So to me, this last election reflected the wishes of people more than the last few elections we've had, because people actually came out. The youth, the NSAS protest in Lagos, in politics, and they so came out and voted. So to me, it represented a fair proportion in politics. Like I said the other time, for somebody who have been looking for a job and you got one and a process denied you of such an opportunity, you are not likely going to have interest in such a country again. So we must make Nigeria to be open for all and sundry. Whether you know somebody or you do not know anybody, let there be level playing ground opportunity for everybody in the country. When you got job on a platter of gold, you will be able to leave a legacy behind for other people to benefit from. For those people that benefited from free education in Nigeria, they are the one ruling Nigeria today, and they can see what they have turned Nigerian to. So we must make sure we reorient our people. Value orientation is very important at this point. Talking to people about their civic responsibilities. You need to vote. You need to vote, and when you vote, you need to go to when you contribute to how people emerge, the leadership of political positions. Then when they are not doing well, you can go to them and say, we vote to, and this is what you are doing. But when you vote apathy to politics, you cannot do all this all the time. We need to encourage ourselves in the churches, in the mosque. Let us keep having people, especially professionals, those professionals come and participate in politics, to attract people of their caliber into politics, to discourage people from being fraudulent, from being violent in politics. You know, some people want to go and vote. They are afraid of violence. They will get to voting the voting center, and people will carry cutlass, people will carry gun. They don't want to face all the lanes. So security too matters a lot. And when the outcome of the election reflects the wishes of people, people will participate more in politics. All these things are the areas we can look at and improve, such that people participation can increase in politics.
All right, I think we have just less than a minute or two to round off this program. So as we finish the program today, what will be your final word if you were to talk to a group of young Nigerians? What would you advise them on what to do?
Oh, Nigeria is filled with opportunities. Nigeria is filled with opportunity for greatness. I want to encourage youth. I want to encourage young Nigerians to let's come together. Let's join hands together and fight for the unity of this country. Fight for the progress of this country. We cannot leave it to the hands of few individuals who have held us for too long. We should come out and join hands together and fight for the unity and the progress of this country. A Nigeria that can guarantee joy of everyone, security of properties, security of lives, security of your own future matters a lot. When you have children, you are having children in an environment of no hope. It can actually reduce your participation in governance. So all I can just say to the youth is for them to help and join hands with especially the government of the day, so that we can run Nigeria in a way that Nigeria will be a better place for all of us. We cannot keep running to UK, we cannot keep running to America, we cannot keep running to Europe. Nigeria is our home. If you go there, you will still come back home. Let us fight for the unity and progress of this country. It is most important.
All right, on that positive note, we may have to leave it at that. Thank you so much, Emmanuel Babawale Salako, for your interventions on Insight. We hope that one of these days we may have to bring you back on the show.
Thank you, sir.
Well, that's our package on the program today. My guest has been Emmanuel Babawale Salako, an economist and a chartered accountant, and we've been talking about the challenges facing the Nigerian economy. Insight will return tomorrow with another edition. For now, don't change the dial. Up next is News on the Hour. My name is Lawrence UMOETTE. Enjoy the rest of your day.